A school would bring federal troops into Tuskegee. Wallace earlier sent more than 100 state troopers into the city and ordered the schools kept closed because of what he called the threat of violence. After his unexpected action, Attorney General Robert Kennedy cut short his holiday weekend in Maine and rushed back to Washington to consider possible federal action in Tuskegee. The strain in U.S.-Vietnam relations is tightening. The anti-Buddhist government of President Diem has demanded the U.S. Embassy in Saigon turn over a chief Buddhist monk who's in asylum in the embassy. The U.S. has refused. A Saigon government newspaper, The Times, is accusing the U.S. of plotting a coup behind the embassy doors designed to topple Diem's government. The Times is published by an American, Gene Gregory. His charge of a U.S. coup has published complete with details of how it would be financed. What action the U.S. plans to take against the present Vietnam government leaders, President Diem and his brother advisor, Ngo Dinh Nhu, and Ngu's influential wife. In Washington, the State Department has officially announced support for the embassy's action in refusing to turn over the Buddhist monks to Saigon officials, and says the newspaper's charges of a coup are completely false. Mayor Wagner says the city's construction unions have to be given a chance to live up to their promise to accept qualified Negroes and Puerto Ricans as members before there are any threats of action if they don't live up to it. Last night on the WINS News Conference, Acting City Labor Commissioner James McFadden said he expected the unions to admit 600 non-whites by September 15th. If they turn down qualified applicants, McFadden warned, he thinks the city and the Building Trades Council will have to take some serious action. Signs in England that Castro and his communist Cuban government are unhappy with their big brothers, the Russians. Here's WINS News correspondent Jim Anderson with a full story in London.
Well-informed sources in London report that there are an increasing number of indications that the Cuban regime is unhappy about its status as a Russian satellite. The Foreign Office cannot comment on the reports, and British diplomats are unwilling to talk about the Cuban scene. But other sources confirm that the Cubans pin the blame for some of their current economic problems on the Russians. One public indication of the Cuban feeling is that they are the only Soviet satellite which has not yet signed the partial test ban treaty. Chinese propaganda, more and more hysterical in denouncing Khrushchev and the Soviet regime, has also begun to talk more and more of the great Cuban people and the Russian mistakes in Cuba. However, it's believed that the Chinese will not be able to assume the Russian programs of military and economic aid to Cuba. The military alert and the reported increasing tension in Cuba are taken by the well-informed sources in London to be a sign of an internal rift between the pro-Chinese and the pro-Russian factions within the Cuban government. This is Jim Anderson reporting from London.
WINS weather coming up.
There's a wonderful world of softness, a wonderful world of freshness. It's the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful world of Salem cigarettes.
Salem softness freshens your taste.
Softly freshens.
Salem softness freshens your taste.
For the smoothest flavor ever, smoke Salem cigarettes.
Salem is more than just a filter cigarette. Salem gives you a modern filter plus rich tobacco taste. Smooth with menthol, softened with fresh air. Yes, Salem softness freshens your taste.
There's a wonderful world of softness, a wonderful world of freshness. It's the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful world of Salem cigarettes.
Now here's WINS weather. Fair this evening, increasing cloudiness tonight and not so cool. Lowest temperature 60 to 65. Tuesday cloudy and cool with occasional showers likely. High temperature in the mid-70s. Right now the pollen count is 9, the temperature 78 degrees at 5:05. WINS News pays you $5 for the best news tip of the day. Phone your tips to 1010 WINS on Circle 7 1010. At the editor's desk, Reg Late, this is Bill Badger, WINS News. The next WINS report at 5:30 p.m. Now, back to the Jack Lacy Show.
And before we get back to music, let's check our WINS scoreboard. Another final score in the first game between the St. Louis Cards and the Pittsburgh Pirates. The St. Louis Cardinals 6, The Pittsburgh Pirates won. That's the final score in the first game. At the end of 6 innings, the Philadelphia Phillies 6, the Milwaukee Braves 4, and in the first game in the American League, at the end of 6 innings, the Los Angeles Angels 5, the Chicago White Sox 1. In the second game between the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox, there's no score at the end of 3. In the first game between the Houston Colts and the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers 1, the Houston Colts nothing. And those are the latest scores from our win scoreboard. And this is Garnett Mims and the Enchanters on our Listen to Lacy show with Crybaby. Well, it's been a good day. A lot of you probably had a little chance to relax. And now that you're all relaxed, you say, let's go someplace. Where can we have some fun? Well, what about Murray the K's big show? If you haven't seen that, boy, you're missing the biggest ever.
Join the excitement going on now at Murray the K's holiday show at the Brooklyn Fox Theater. Continuous performances morning, noon, and night through Sunday, September 8th. And it stars that 13-year-old genius, little Stevie Wonder, the fabulous Benny King, and with that Mickey's Monkey crew for you, the Miracles, the Shirelles, the Dovells, Gene Pitney, and starring those angels who sing...
My boyfriend's back and you're gonna be in trouble.
Plus, Jan and Dean, the fabulous Drifters, the Chiffons, Jay and the Americans, Randy and the Rainbows, and the wonderful, wonderful Times. And listen, free, yes, free, a shirt or a Murray the K Golden Gasser album, a regular $3.50 value given absolutely free to every ticket buyer before 12 noon. That's Murray the K's big show at the Brooklyn Fox Theater now. Continuous performances now through Sunday, September 8th. Come on out, baby.
You betcha. Now, today's the day, a great day to see that big show. And if you want to know exactly what time it goes on so you can get there to see it from the beginning, for further information, call this number, TR5-9350. They'll be glad to answer all your questions. That's TR5-9350. And you check in at the Brooklyn Fox to see Murray the K's big holiday show. All your favorite record artists are in it. These are the Passions, who have come out with a new record that the Crests made a hit out of a few years ago, 16 Candles.
Hey, wait a minute. Here she comes.
Now, let's see what Bert and Harry are up to.
Radio viewers, a public service message from Peel's Beer, that delicious product of Peel Brothers, Brooklyn, New York, and Willimantic, Massachusetts.
Now, we realize that the Peel's Beer 12-ounce no-return economy pack is the best beer buy in town, and that Peel's is peak flavor brewed for that peak of flavor taste.
However, these crowds of automobiles in front of Peel's dealers are blocking police cars, ambulances, and stickball games.
The answer is this: buy a whole lot of Peel's economy packs at once.
Increase consumption and decrease congestion.
Get the Peel's Economy Pack. 6 12-ounce non-returnable bottles, still your best beer buy. The wind's time now is 14 minutes after 5, and this is the time of the day when so many folks are kind of, wrapping things up, putting them away, getting set to come home at the end of this nice long holiday weekend. The weather's been delightful, and you're ready to take off. You're a better than average driver. You're careful. You step into your car. Now, you've installed seat belts because you believe in safety, but you're only going a few miles on this trip. You don't bother with the belt. Unfortunate, because you've forgotten one very important thing. 3 out of 4 deaths occur within 25 miles of home. So the next time you take a short trip, think again about using the belt. 1/3 of the deaths could have been prevented by using them. So, buckle those seat belts. If you don't have them, well, then why not see about getting them tomorrow? But in any event, drive carefully for the remainder of this day and evening. So far, 446 people have lost their lives in traffic accidents across the nation since the beginning of the Labor Day weekend, and the homeward rush is now beginning, so that extra measure of caution will pay off. This is 1010 Wins New York, where you hear more of what you listen to your radio for, WINS.
The place looks a mess. Everything's piled up on the floor.
I'm getting ready for those dry cleaning specials on Wednesday at Spotless.
Goodbye. Me too. See you Wednesday at Spotless.
As part of its summertime service, WINS presents the offshore forecast for Long Island South Shore Bay areas and Long Island Sound to Montauk Point and Block Island. Southerly winds 5 to 10 knots tonight, picking up to 15 to 25 knots on Tuesday, with increasing cloudiness tonight. It'll be cloudy Tuesday with occasional showers likely. Visibility 5 miles or more, lowering to 1 to 3 miles and occasional showers on Tuesday. And that is the offshore forecast for the Long Island waters. And moving back to music on our Listen to Lacy show, another record you heard first on WINS. These are the Janettes with Sally Go Round the Roses. From the WINS scoreboard is another final score in the first game of a doubleheader. The New York Yankees 5, the Detroit Tigers 4. That's the final score of the first game. The New York Yankees 5, Detroit Tigers 4. The WINS time is 19 minutes after 5.
It's expanding again, folks. Your Sunday Journal American now has 2 new extra color sections at no extra cost. Journal has free pocket-sized TV magazine and full-color magazine section, Victoria Living. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, you get complete week's TV listings, previews, color features, pictures of the stars, TV crossword, TV movie guide, all at no extra cost in new TV magazine with the Sunday Journal American.
So you want to reserve your copy right now. We've reserved the spot for Roy Orbison's new hit, The Mead Woman Blues.
Well, I got a woman mean as she can be.
WINS time is 22 minutes after 5. The temperature right now, 78 degrees. It'll be fair this evening with increasing cloudiness tonight and not so cool. The lowest temperature is 60 to 65. Tuesday, it'll be cloudy and cool with occasional showers likely. The highest temperature will be in the mid-70s. The outlook for Wednesday is for partly cloudy and cool weather.
When you're in your favorite store, get the gum worth looking for. Enjoy America's favorite brand, the biggest little treat in all the land.
Look for the spear and get chewing enjoyment. Look for the spear, get Wrigley. Fresh, strong, lively, long-lasting too. You say Wrigley's is great to chew.
Friends, when you're in your favorite store, get the biggest little treat in all the land, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. To be sure of getting the original Wrigley Spearmint, look for the spear on the package. You see, anyone can use the word spearmint, but only Wrigley's can use the spear on the package. Some people call it a spear, some call it an arrow. Whichever you call it, it's the Wrigley trademark, and it's your assurance of real chewing enjoyment. So remember,
get the package with the spear, and you'll know enjoyment's here. Be sure it's Wrigley's gum. If something happens, don't ignore it, 'cause you can get cash money for it. Pick up the phone and then dial circle 71010. WINS New York.
And if your news tip is the best tip of the day, WINS News pays you $5. And in the news, there is another possible showdown brewing between the federal and the state government in Alabama. Late word on that and other stories at 5:30 with Charles Scott King on the WINS 10-Minute Report. Back to the rack now for one of the many fine Connie Francis hits, Who's Sorry Now? WINS time now is 27 minutes after 5. That's one of the pleasures of the past, and here's one of the pleasures of the present.
Newport Filter Cigarette.
What makes Newport the most refreshing cigarette of all? That's easy. Menthol and mint, a fine white filter, and great-tasting tobaccos. That's why only Newport's more refreshing to begin with, more refreshing all the way.
You feel the freshness while you're smoking Newport menthol cigarette.
To nobody's surprise, Jan and Dean's follow-up to Surf City has jumped onto all the bestseller charts. It's Honolulu Lulu.
Queen of the surfer girl.
That's the surfing sound that does it. Jan and Dean's new record, that's Honolulu Lulu.
When the talks recessed until 8 o'clock tonight, Kogan and the teachers joined the line of march down Fifth Avenue for the annual Labor Day parade. And WINS News reporter Tuck Stadler was there.
If there's a different emphasis in this year's Labor Day parade, it's brought out by the theme full employment and equal opportunity. Mayor Wagner, Governor Rockefeller, Senator Javits, Boston Councilman at Large candidate Dick Flynn, Labor Council Chief Harry Van Arsdale, and others on the reviewing stand are all reminded by this march of 100,000 of last Wednesday's Washington march of 200,000. They all use the occasion to underscore their own frequent statements that work is a vital part of America's dream of true equality, and each of these leaders looks out at the marchers and lets them serve as reminders that 13% of Negro New Yorkers are unemployed on Labor Day 1963, compared to 6% of the population as a whole. That the battle against racial bars has to be continued. And happy and inspiring as this parade is, it's indisputable that you still don't see many dark faces, in the famous words of Negro leader James Farmer, many dark faces among the marchers representing construction trades and other labor organizations. But despite serious overtones, everyone here is having a wonderful time in perfect weather. And from the Broadway actors in costume who led the parade, the pretty drum majorettes all the way down the line, it's a magnificent parade. Tuck Stadler, WINS News, Fifth Avenue.
American and South Vietnam relations hit a new low. That and other stories coming up. Why does a bulb always seem to burn out at the most inconvenient time? Say in the attic or the cellar when you have to find something, or at your front door when you're fishing for the key. What you need are Westinghouse new shape eye-saving bulbs. And these bulbs are designed to give you extra light, more than the published average life of ordinary bulbs. The best light for seeing ever developed. Stock up on Westinghouse new shape eye-saving bulbs next time you shop. Look for the words extra life on each 2-lamp pack. And on the top of each new shape bulb, extra life. Good words to remember the next time an old-fashioned bulb burns out when you need it most. The present temperature in New York, 81 degrees at 5:35 p.m. The WINS 10-minute report continues. The coolness between the United States and the government of South Vietnam is chillier than ever. Relations plunged to a new low in the wake of our embassy's granting of asylum to 3 Buddhist monks, including one of the leaders of the movement against the Diem government. The military governor of Saigon demands that the U.S. Embassy turn over the monks, and a government-sponsored English-language newspaper accused us of plotting a coup to topple the regime. The embassy termed the report nonsense, and the State Department labeled it absolutely false. In addition, State Department officials supported the embassy's admission of the 3 monks, saying they might have been killed if they hadn't been granted asylum. The Berlin Wall divides East and West, but the mayor of West Berlin may try to bring the two closer together. WINS News correspondent Ed DeFontaine reports from West Berlin.
West Berlin Mayor Willy Brandt goes before the city's parliament tomorrow with a policy statement which is expected to include new proposals for increasing contact between the two halves of Berlin and lessening the suffering of East Germans. Brandt's speech, which apparently will have 3 major parts, already has been approved by his government, a coalition between his Socialist Party and the Free Democrats. The Christian Democrats, who lost heavily in the last election, are in opposition in West Berlin and are expected to object to the policy statement. The Christian Democratic viewpoint is that Brandt and his deputy, Heinrich Albert, are on the verge of favoring recognition of East Germany or dealing directly with the East Germans, which could result in such recognition. Following tomorrow's policy declaration, the Christian Democrats will bring their demands for the removal of Brandt's deputy from office, an effort which does not stand a chance unless sensational testimony is produced unexpectedly. This is Ed DeFontaine reporting from Berlin.
A new union in the Middle East. Believe it or not, Syria and Iraq have agreed to merge into a full economic union and to set up joint army commissions for military and defensive cooperation. Further details of the agreement have not been spelled out. The U.S. has a troubleshooter in Pakistan tonight. Undersecretary of State George Ball has the job of pacifying some angered government officials. It all started when Pakistan signed an agreement allowing Red China to land planes in Pakistan. Uncle Sam got irked, suspended a $4 million loan. Pakistan's finance minister got madder, said the loan was made, no strings attached. Yesterday, a spokesman for the State Department said the loan had not been suspended, just deferred. Pennsylvania mine officials have given up all hope for Louis Bova, trapped in a mine for almost 3 weeks. Although the rescue efforts will continue, no one will go down the new shaft drilled some 300 feet deep to an area where Bova is believed to be. Officials say the new shaft is too dangerous for a man to descend. Anne Vanderbilt, the sixth wife of millionaire Cornelius Vanderbilt, has been treated and released from Roosevelt Hospital after taking a slight overdose of drugs. Police questioned her after she left the hospital and described her case as intoxication by barbiturate. A new queen for New Jersey, Jean Collins of Mount Prospect Avenue, New York, has been crowned Fall Festival Queen of the Garden State. She won the title this afternoon at Palisades Park, displaying vital statistics of 38, 24, 35. I'll be back with a look at the weather in a moment.
Beneficial Finance is the one place to call for money the minute you want it. Beneficial Finance is the one place to call for money the minute you want it. You get cash double fast for any good reason. The folks at Beneficial like to say,
well, you know.
Like to say yes.
Going places, doing things, that's what summer's for. And for the cash you want to take a trip, clean up leftover bills, or for any good reason, call Beneficial.
Beneficial Finance is the one place to call, so call Beneficial Finance.
Beneficial Finance Company.
Now, whether you live in New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut, there's a Beneficial office near you, over 180 affiliated offices, up to 24 months to repay. See the white pages of your phone book. Here's winds weather. Fair this evening, increasing cloudiness tonight and not so cool, with a low between 60 and 65. Tomorrow, cloudy and cool, occasional showers likely, a high in the mid-70s. The present temperature, 78 degrees. Wins News pays you $5 for the best news tip of the day. Phone your tips to 1010 Wins on Circle 71010. That's CI 71010. The next Wins report at 6 p.m. at the editor's desk, Reg Late. This is Charles Scott King, Wins News. Now back to Jack Lacy.
And this into Wins Traffic Control Center, Mike Asante of Woodbury, Long Island, was kind enough to call us to tell us about a two-car accident on the Long Island Expressway westbound near Route 44N. And as a result, westbound traffic in that area is delayed for about half a mile. Things are tied up there for about half a mile back from that area. That is westbound on the Long Island Expressway near route number 44N. There's been a two-car accident causing a delay in westbound traffic. And our thanks to Mike Asante of Woodbury for checking that one for us. Now, let's check back into the music department with the Crystals, and Then He Kissed Me. Think you could handle a really big treat? Well, you listen to what Good Humor has for you.
Bigger than an ice cream cone. Larger than a regular Good Humor. The most gigantic surprise Good Humor ever made.
Hey, look! Up on that Good Humor truck. It's a new ice cream. It's a giant Good Humor.
It's Super Humor. Butter Crunch Super Humor. If you can handle one, it's the most heroic ice cream treat on a stick you've ever eaten.
Oh, boy! Well,
It has a Butter Crunch candy bar in the middle with Good Humor New Deluxe French ice cream.
oh, great!
And a 3-layer coating of almonds, butter cake, and chocolate.
Butter Crunch Super Humor.
Are you sure you can eat it all?
Wow, it is big.
Bigger than an ice cream cone. Larger than a regular Good Humor. The most gigantic surprise Good Humor ever made.
It's Butter Crunch Super Humor. Oh, boy!
Wins time now is 15 minutes before 6 o'clock, and checking our win scoreboard, we have two more final scores. The Los Angeles Angels 7, the Chicago White Sox 5, the Philadelphia Phillies 9, the Milwaukee Braves 4. Those are final scores. Second game between the Washington Senators and the Cleveland Indians. At the end of 3 innings, the Cleveland Indians 3, the Washington Senators 2. That's at the end of 3 innings in the second game of the doubleheader. People who listen to 10-10 Wins always know the score. This is where you get more of what you listen to radio for, WINS in New York. Let's move along to Sunny and the Sun Glows on our Listen to Lacy show with Talk to Me.
Talk to me.
Wins time is 11 minutes before 6 o'clock. We've talked about traffic safety, of course, and that implies many things. Observing speed limits, the rules of the road, and also, I think, keeping your car in good mechanical condition so that you can depend on it. That's why I'd like to have you listen carefully to this.
Carefree driving begins with a can of wind and a can of wind. Today,
of all the money-wasting that work in your car's engine these September days, friction is probably the worst. Friction between metal parts in your car's engine causes excessive engine wear, too. It reduces power, and it makes your engine overheat. It also cuts down operating efficiency. But just as friction is destructive, WINS friction proofing is protective. WINS friction proofing holds wear to an absolute minimum. It increases the delivered power, and it keeps your engine cooler. It treats the metal, not the oil, because you see, WINS friction proofing is an exclusive combination of metal conditioners that smooths and seals vital metal parts to a chrome-like finish and keeps wear to an absolute minimum. So, wherever you drive in for service, ask the man to add a can of WINS friction proofing, WINNS. It makes sense. To get the best out of your car, put the best in.
so add a can of wind today.
Oh, I tell you, you never know what somebody's going to come up with next when it comes to a new treatment of an old song. Listen, for example, to Nino Tempo and April Stevens with this real old-timer, Deep Purple. Wins time now is 7 minutes before 6, and this is still the best beer news in years.
Pabst is here at popular prices. Pabst is here at popular prices. While you have old-time flavor, Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, original Pabst Blue Ribbon.